don't do a voice or anything, right? Just hello and welcome to the Beastly Artifact.
Yeah, you don't have to do any voice.
Okay. Hello and well. Hello and welcome to the Beastly Artifact. This is a once in a full moon podcast created by two familiars who met in the underworld and, against all odds, decided to keep talking to each other. I'm your ghost, Alex, joined always by my co-ghost who spent the better half of last year spelunking through hell and practicing necromancy.
I'm Justin. The poison moves fast once ingested. The depraved killers of today are less than a rotting zombie corpse by tomorrow. We're here to slow down and recover our breaths while the footsteps get closer in order to make sense of the screaming voices in our heads and demonic images burned into our retinas. To that end, we've each chosen an artifact from the web to discuss together.
Our comments are our own and are not associated with any institution. The show will contain explicit language and themes, and the show notes are your only hope for salvation. Justin, let me tell you about my artifact. Let me tell you about my artifact that I picked for both of us. Because I'm better at this podcast than you. No. Today I'll be talking about the 2019 album by the American hip-hop group Clipping called There Existed an Addiction to Blood. It's their third studio album. You're welcome. That'll come in later. Let me tell you the first thing about this album that struck me out. Because I listened to it in order as it went through. And I thought, for the first, I'm going to say 3 songs, I was like, hey, this guy sounds a lot like Daveed Diggs. But that can't be right. He's just like that Hamilton guy. I don't know. Like I've heard all I ever heard was Thomas Jefferson and one way too long rap about Black Lives Matter that was low-key kind of corny, but this kind of slaps.
Well, don't forget the Sesame Street commercials as well.
Okay, I should have known then. You're right. And then I looked at the little thumbnail on YouTube and I was like, I don't know, that guy's kind of wears his hair like Daveed wears his hair. And then I looked it up and lo and behold, I was like, this dude raps fast, like he's doing his best like Daveed impersonation, or Daveed's like copying off him. I don't know. Yeah, first and foremost, beats go hard. That's the most important part of both of these albums. It's a little jarring, so I'm not sure if it's just like you listen to it while you're going down the road, but definitely, I think horrorcore is the genre term we're looking for. But each sort of track sort of goes through various sort of grisly situations, languages. Some more sort of like each bar is just like another like fucked up thing, and some of them are a little more narrative driven. For example, one that stuck out to me both because I think it was kind of a banger, and also the narrative of it was Story 7, which is about, I'm going to say a vampire, but could be a werewolf, probably a werewolf.
I think werewolf.
Named Cynthia. And what really sort of piqued me about this one, I don't know if you took notes at all really on this album, but Cynthia knew Steve wouldn't do right from the moment he said that he wouldn't eat her out. Huge. Which is, I'm not trying to clown the song or anything, because they are really good songs. I'm not very good at articulate about talking about music, so I'll keep it sort of more brief and pedestrian with my review of it. But that one stuck out, and then Blood of the Fang, which it's not the titular track, but that's where they sort of sample There Exists an Addiction to Blood in the song, and I like that one a lot because it's a bit jarring, sort of in a good way, like attention grabbing, because like a lot of it it's back and forth. I mean, it's Daveed Diggs, and if he doesn't fit 1,000 words into every 5-minute song, God bless him. But some of it's more surface level, at least with sort of the horror, and some of it's a little more socially conscious. This one's definitely sort of the most sort of explicitly about like racial tension, and sort of just like very like heavily steeped in like, should I say the Black experience, or just sort of alludes to a lot of sort of figures in like African American culture, specifically American. And also, I think the only song that gets like a really dedicated music video from what I could see, which was good. It was a good music video, and that's confirmed Daveed Diggs. Go figure. There's a couple of singles. Nothing Is Safe Too is a good one, but that was sort of, the music video was more of sort of like a lyric video. But it was just a good song. And even though it was my idea to do both of these albums back to back, I'll let Justin tell you about how he was introduced to them in the first place, and where he got his where you found out about Clipping. Was it because you're such a big Hamilton guy, or?
Well, okay, yeah. So I wasn't even thinking about that aspect of that. I have thought about that before, but yeah, I always wonder, how many people who know David Diggs through Hamilton or now his Sesame Street commercials have any idea what kind of music he actually makes of his own accord.
I'm actually a
Um,
big David Diggs for his acting career on Blackish, so that's actually where I found him out.
I mean, these are definitely the most horrorcore albums, and we'll get to the second one in a bit. But before this, he had some other sorts of there's like a sci-fi one and a couple other genre type ones that aren't definitely not the same as these, but also not Hamilton. So yeah, so I always think that's interesting. Yeah, no, I think I actually first heard about it when I was listening to the Going Off podcast with rap critic and Muse. They were talking about it, and I was interested in horrorcore before that. I have my own little personal hip hop Halloween playlist that I bust out for myself every Halloween. But yeah, I'm always looking for more songs to add to that, and this seemed like one. Although I didn't end up adding that many songs from it, but some of the songs work very well. Yeah, anyways, so that's how I found it. I agree with you about Story 7 being one of the better songs on here, even though sonically it's not that scary.
It's not.
I
That's
don't
true.
quite know how to describe how it sounds. Almost kind of just like you're having like a friendly skip down the sidewalk on a
Kinda.
Sunday
It's definitely got
afternoon.
like it's a little more upbeat. It really is. Maybe I don't know. It's weird. It's kind of weird to me that wasn't one of the singles. It's kind of this is a strange album. I mean, all music should like have this sort of featuring, but like I'm surprised that this wasn't one of the singles, to be honest, considering like how it's produced relative to some of the other ones.
Hmm.
Maybe because it's a little too grisly, but
Yeah, I think also this connects to other songs across other albums because I don't even know if there's 7 of them, but there's another song by Clipping called the Story 4
mm.
and Story 2 at least.
What do you think? Are those nails? What's the art? Because the next
Uh,
album is clearly teeth,
yeah,
but
I think these are nails. I
mm-hmm.
don't exactly know what it's supposed to be evoking necessarily, other than just kind of like, obviously you wouldn't want that coming at you, I guess.
Yeah, it's just sort of an uneasy imagery, but
I think I think a lot of stuff works better about the second album, but I do.
yeah, that's why I lent it to you as a gift. You need it.
But yeah, I don't know. But I do kind of like it. It just is kind of like a more minimalist thing.
Mm-hmm. It probably was La Mala Ordina, but what song just had like a minute and a half of just like white noise feedback, like at the end that was just like nothing.
I feel like they do that with a lot,
They do it with
but
a
I
lot of
don't
them.
remember on which one on this one it is.
One of them was particularly egregious where it's just like so much and I was like, all right, like it was like 12 in the it was like midnight when I was listening to this and I was like already kind of tired. It was creeping me out a little bit, the songs in general, like the production value with like the noises that they choose and some of the interludes, but I was just like, all right, I gotta like I'm skipping this probably. I just like kept jumping like 15 seconds, just kept going. I was like, god damn it.
Yeah,
You're doing too
they do a
much.
lot with instrumentals and distorted audio and stuff, which sometimes works pretty well, and other times can be a little bit grating. They've done live performances before that you can look up. I
Mm-hmm.
think they even have an NPR Tiny Desk actually.
Oh, no
uh,
shit. All right, I actually am gonna look that
which
up.
is it's actually I don't exactly know what is going on in the NPR Tiny Desk. They're like doing like a play on the idea of Tiny Desk, and like even if you don't listen to it, if you just like look at like a still of it, you'll see what I'm talking about. But they like David has like a tiny microphone at,
Just look
and like his two producers have like tiny little like beat machines, and it looks like they're playing them for real, but I don't know how that would be possible because they're so small and these songs are so intricate. So I don't actually know what technological magic went behind that. But then they have like a more realistic, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
a more life-size live performance that I've seen as well. But yet his producers just are like insane with their
Mm-hmm.
technical skills. And so I think they just like to showcase that and what they're doing with these interesting
Yeah.
sounds.
Any
Pressing
hot
per
takes on
se.
piano burning?
I didn't want to jump to that too soon, but I was gonna say I was surprised you didn't bring up piano burning.
Well, it was like, okay, so I was listening to, so what had happened was I was like not doing anything else. Like this was my main focus was like listening to this, but I was like sort of passively like playing like a computer game or something while I was listening, just so I wasn't just like staring at like the album art for like an hour and a half straight, just losing my mind. But I was playing a game and I just kind of started hearing like sort of just like the crackling of fire, and I was like, okay, whatever, it'll kick in. And then like I wasn't really paying attention, and then like I look over to the other monitor screen that had it, and it was like 5 minutes in. I was like, "What the fuck?" And then I like, because I looked at the track listing at first. I was like, 18 minutes. Like, okay, this. I was like, 18 minutes. This song is gonna go fucking nuts. Like, they're gonna go like, this is gonna be some like Bohemian Rhapsody like on meth. Like, I have no idea what's about to happen, but I'm like hype. And then I just was just like, oh, and like that's the only thing on their wiki that has like a hyperlink. So I clicked that. I'm like, oh, it's just this. Fine. And I like skipped through. I like hit like 3 minutes, like 10 minute, like the 15-minute mark. I was like, all right, that's fine. I'm not gonna do this right now.
I have listened to the whole song before, not like actively like while
Right.
doing all this stuff. But yeah, it's literally just they set a piano on fire and let it burn for 18 minutes.
Is
And
there ever like a crescendo of like you hear like the strings like snap or anything, or is it just wood?
yes, you
Okay.
do. Couldn't tell you where it starts, but at some point, like the strings start snapping, and you do kind of hear like piano-ish
Yeah.
sounds. Yeah, it's kind of like popcorn. It's like nothing will
Right.
happen for a while, and then like
And
most
all
of the
yeah.
kernels will pop around the same time, and then it
Right.
goes back to nothing happening after they're all popped. So that kind of happens for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's not like a good song. It's not a song. It's not a song.
Listen, it's not a good song. I'm not gonna say it's a. I'm not giving it a Grammy, but listen,
But I just think it's hilarious that they.
it's really funny. It's so good. I love that shit. I mean, because it's not like it didn't like they didn't need it to fill out the album. Like they did their job, and they're like, you know what? Let's get stupid here, and I respect that.
But I think the actual best songs, I think the absolute best song in the album is "Run for Your Life." Did you
Okay,
listen to this with headphones on or earbuds or whatever?
but I did have it with headphones. It's like listen, like you said, it's a great sounding album. I gotta go back and listen to that one. I guess I don't remember it as like explicitly.
That one has a lot of cool stuff going on sonically,
Mm-hmm.
especially with. And I had to listen to it a few times before I really caught what was happening. So it's basically like this guy's like running away from this like woman, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't really do it justice, but whatever. But as he's running away and like hiding in different like alleyways and dumpsters and stuff, you will hear cars drive by going from like left to right or right to left or whatever. And now
Mm-hmm.
and you'll know it's a car driving by because you'll like hear the tire. But what you'll also hear then is as the car drives by, you'll hear the music that's playing in the car will then become the beat
Oh
of the
shit.
song as the car drives by and then fade out when the car drives away. And like it happens
That's
so
super nutty.
smoothly that you like I said, I didn't even
Yeah.
notice it. Like I when I was listening to
The needle drop of it.
the going off podcast of it. I don't what's needle.
Oh,
Oh
not
right,
Anthony
yeah.
Fantano.
No, I think he did review it as well. I think I did listen to his review. I don't remember if he commented on this or not.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had to like listen to it a few times before I really like caught it because it happened so smoothly. But I really like that one both for the beat work and then also just like the story is like cool and then like having the woman
Mm-hmm.
that's chasing him like coming at the end works really well. And then I also like the show. It's just like this like gruesome like torture thing that's like played off as like almost like a game show or something,
Mm-hmm.
which is like
Mm-hmm.
very vivid in the details of what he's doing.
Yeah, it's definitely like I don't know. Like I like more narrative songs in general because I think it's like definitely it's more interesting, obviously, but I think it's obviously like I don't know. It's not as much in the like pop culture of like how songs are written in a lot of ways and sort of like very deliberate storytelling. So this is definitely like very refreshing as far as just like something to listen to.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do kind of like the intro too. I don't really have too much to say with the intro. It has some creepy imagery and also sounds like he's kind of like rapping into a phone. But yeah, but I like the intro, and then also "Nothing Is Safe." I think sounds like a cool song. Not the
I like
scariest
Nothing Is
song, but a
Safe.
song that you could just like
No.
listen to and have it sound like a real song.
Mm-hmm. Put that on and be like, somebody like, is that Thomas Jefferson? No, you're like, no, that's Marquis de Lafayette. Please, really get him.
But yeah, I like this album.
Mm-hmm. No, I do too. So I will thank myself for introducing it to me. All right, Justin, now that I've been so sort of creative with coming up with this album, I'm sure you want to do something completely different to sort of really even out and fill out the podcast. So what's your artifact, buddy?
So I chose to give myself the second album, which I think
Wow. Wow. Okay.
no shade to the first album, but I do think this album works better for as a horrorcore album. It came out the following year. From what I understand, this was all supposed to be like one double album that came out in 2019, but because of COVID, that didn't end up happening. But this one is called "Visions of Bodies Being Burned." So I'll try and touch on as many songs as I can. Not all of them are super worth commenting on. I like the intro of this one as well. It goes with a lot of that distorted audio we were talking about. Also has this intense like drum beat sort of sound that kind of sounds like someone banging down a door maybe or something. And then also the way he's rapping on it, it almost sounds like he's off beat, but he's not. He's like changing tempos like as he's rapping. It's a very, I feel like it captures like a lot of the sort of spirit of like both these albums with kind of like what's going on, the sound. And then like just like the blown out audio at the end. It doesn't go on for as long as the other song you were talking about, but it ends with that. And then we get right into, again, not the titular album as you said, but or titular song as you said, but the song that references the title of the album, "Say the Name," which I think is by far the best song of either album. If for no other reason than the references, like I don't know how many references you caught or like how closely you were listening to this song. So I mean, first of all, the candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies being burned, comes from the Ghetto Boys' "Mind Playing Tricks on Me" song, which is a much earlier sort of attempt at horrorcore. Except in this one, Daveed Diggs like subverts it a little bit to make it about like the candlesticks are like torches, and the visions of bodies being burned are like people being lynched. Like he turns this into like a lynching story, and then connects it to Candyman, which is why the song starts out the hook gonna be what it is, which sounds like he's talking about the hook of the song, but it's really talking about, the lore of Candyman's hook, and then there's several other lines following that sort of reinforce that point. Some of the other lines he talks about, like the honey, and like which is sort of reference to the lore of how Candyman dies of having honey poured on him and bees attacking, and also includes a reference to an old dirty bastard song. There's like a lot of like random references. There's also a reference to Nas "Made You Look" for some reason.
Because it's tight for some reason.
And then it goes from this Candyman sort of scheme to then like a Rosemary's Baby theme. I don't know if you caught that one. But there's a line, "It's not a dream, it's a memory," which if you've seen Rosemary's Baby, you'll know is a riff on the line, "This is no dream, this is really happening," when she's having her dream sequence, which is not a dream, it's really happening. No spoilers. And then also a reference to Big Pun when he says she just crushed a lot. like I said, there's like a lot of references. I probably won't cover them all, but yeah, and then so then she gets like pregnant, and then there's a line from this Candyman who's like also being portrayed as like a demon here. There's a reference to the Great Migration, which is the only line that somewhat I don't totally know what to do with. I think it's saying something maybe about this being like an interracial relationship in addition to being, inter demonic or however you want to think about that. But and then has reference to there's a part of the song where he just starts saying, "Can you say it again? Can you look in the mirror and say it again?" Another Candyman reference. You have to say his name 5 times in the mirror to summon him.
5? I thought it was 3. I'm fucked.
3 is
There's
3 is Bloody Mary.
3 Bloody Mary.
Yeah. And then the third verse.
Gotta make you work for it.
The third verse I don't totally understand, but it also has some interesting imagery in it, and then another just cool instrumental outro. So just the references and just the way it kind of like plays into, again, like what you said for Blood of the Fang, all these like Black African American themes playing out, and I just think is cool. I won't spend this long talking about any other song.
Well, it's the best one, so you gotta give it its due. I know I'm just like a fucking mark for like producers, because just like I don't know what it's called, but just the editing of Candlesticks and the Dark Visions of Body Being Burned immediately, I was just like, all right, yeah, I just like this song. This is just like just that sample like editing is enough to get me.
The funny thing is that's actually not a sample technically, because I forget where I heard this, but there is no just a cappella version of Scarface saying that. So that's actually Daveed Diggs like doing an impression of Scarface saying it that they then remix the audio of to like distort. So it ends up sounding like a sample, but it's actually not.
That's nuts.
Yeah. But yeah, the song also just slaps too.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's gonna be true across the board, except for piano burning.
The next few songs I'm not as high on, although there's some cool stuff happening. The Witchboard interlude I do think is really cool, even though I'll be honest, I didn't know what they were spelling at first. But
yeah, me neither.
I thought they were spelling one word, and then I was like, "Was he sure?" But they're showing "He Is Here," and that sets up the next song, which is kind of like this subversion of like, kind of like, the call is coming from inside the house, almost, sort of thing. Which is there's not actually a phone call, but it's kind of like this guy's like breaking in, but then it kind of subverts it to have like, no, actually these women are like strong and they're gonna actually like beat him up or whatever. It's kind of interesting. Doesn't totally work for me. Something Underneath. Another cool sounding song, some interesting lyrics, kind of apocalyptic feel, random reference to Outkast Hey Ya, say what's cooler than being cool, ice cold. Doesn't totally fit tonally on the album to me, but it's fine. Make Them Dead, maybe one of the lesser songs just because it's so slow. This one has another one of those ones that has a lot of like audio, distorted audio that ends up kind of sounding grating because there's not a lot else happening in it. But it's kind of like this like religious cult Salem witch trial kind of vibe going on. And then we get back on track with She Bad. This to me feels like what 96 Neve Campbell could have been. A lot of creepy stuff. I think a reference to It with She Float at one point, but just a lot of creepy imagery. It's a lot of it is just relying on the setting. Not much actually happens in the song. Just kind of describing stuff. I really like the line. They're like just kind of like walking through this area, like this very old, like abandoned place. Kind of like these teenagers. Almost seems like they've gone there on like a dare. Like this is like a place where that's known to be haunted or something. But they like walk past some like laundry. And there's like, the sheets are worn. Are they worn enough? That math doesn't add up. Just like a lot of like off stuff is just like off. In the context of the song, I feel like that makes more sense. Another interlude after that with Invocation, which is just purely instrumental. Pain Every Day. I feel like it's a really creative song. It's like someone who dies and then it's just like mad about it, kind of. Just like bitter and like talking about like, how much it hurt to die, how he's like watching his body rot away, and also people are like forgetting him, so he's kind of just like haunting people out of spite. Uh, Also, if you noticed anything about the beat of this song, you might not have. I didn't notice it at first, but this is actually in 7/8 time. Most songs are
God,
in.
that doesn't mean it. I am tone deaf. Please tell me what that means.
So most songs have 4 beats per measure. You know, most like popular songs you would hear.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This one has
Mm-hmm.
7 beats per measure. So if you try and like count it out, like you might be tempted to try and count it in 4 beats, and it's not gonna line up. It's you have to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3,
Jesus.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
And you'll the way you can catch on to what it is like at the end of a lot of the bars will have that triple hit, which is like and that's kind of, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4,
Catching up.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of cool if you know anything about music, or if you just are trying to figure out why you can't keep a beat to that song. Check
Mm-hmm.
the Lock, I think is kind of cool. Not necessarily one of my favorite songs, but I kind of just like this like paranoid dude. It's the most like relatable because there's not like any ghosts or demons. He's just worried about like people
Mm-hmm.
coming for him.
I just started watching The Wire, and this seemed like a theme song for Omar or some shit. Like,
Mhm.
just like when everybody else is worried about him coming through. Um, but yeah, I like this one a lot, and that's just my wire on the brain. It's a useless like comment that has nothing to do with anything. But you and I have a history of you having watched The Wire and insisting that I watch The Wire. Just made me think of that because we were listening to it for this.
I just like the chorus. I feel like it's perfect. It's like, he ain't never
Mm-hmm.
scared though, but he checked the lock every time he walked by the
Yeah.
door. He run the motherfucking city, yeah, they know, but he checked the lock every time he walked by the door.
It's just smart.
Exactly. Looking like meat. Really, my only comment is to leave the Campbell songs to Brother Lin Chung, who we
I mean, he's got the
talked about
market.
before.
It's not for you.
I don't know who Ho 9909 is. To me, he doesn't really fit on the album, but
Oh my god.
but yeah.
No respect for Ho 9909.
Another interlude of some cattle. I don't exactly know what's going on there,
That
but
I think it's just supposed to be kind of upsetting, which it kind of is. It's just strange.
vaguely sets up the next song, sort of, not really. But I really like Eaten Alive just for like the instrumentals, if nothing else. If nothing else, it sounds like they're like cooking up drugs with like metal spoons
Mm-hmm.
and bowls and stuff. And a
Yeah.
super long outro of just that, which I think is probably the one outro that really adds something rather than just kind of being. I mean, there's other outros that are fine too. Like you said, like the candlesticks. Or sorry, the say the name outro is also pretty good, but I feel like this one like actively adds something to the song. Also, I really like the line where where he like knows this is the best line of the song. He says, "Bathwater babies creep up out the bayou magically and leave your brains behind the outhouse in the grass for cats to eat." And then you just hear him go, "Ooh!"
Oh my god. Oh.
Body for the Pile, another really good song. I like a lot of good imagery in here. I really like the line, "A spider serving up face like whose house you think this is." And then also this is a longer quote, but it all works together. And the slanted blinds are squinting just enough for the sunrise to zebra stripe the room with light. He would have had to shield his eyes, but they wide open, no motion, no, he never flinched, palms flat on the table, didn't seem to move an inch. Fishbowl on the far side of the room where Goldfish swims around, suspicious of the gun that now sits in the bowl with him. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, both of those are like animal lines for what it's worth, but I don't know. There's a lot of good imagery. Also, a reference to E40 with mustard and mayonnaise. That's a deep cut. I didn't even know about that one, but And then also all the deaths are police officers, which is coming out in 2020. It definitely captures a mood. So I'll say about that. Enlacing, just kind of about a weird drug trip. Doesn't necessarily fit a lot of what else was going on. Does have a really cool line in it. How you looking at your face when your face is on your face? This is something you should face. Um, and then closes with Secret Peace, which I guess is a reference to Yoko Ono's song of the same name. Seems maybe to indicate that everything has gone back to normal, just like birds and insect sounds. And that's the whole album.
I would like to say I've probably gotten generously a third of the references that he mentions, probably close to a quarter. On a bad day, 10%. Because you mentioned that, like, I I have heard other references to mustard and mayonnaise, not knowing that that was originally from E40. So I heard that and I was like, okay, I don't think you're referencing this other mediocre song that I'm familiar with, but I'm sensing some common thread here. I also did catch the sort of with the eating alive when he's just like sort of gassing himself up, like he really just like he like knows he's spitting. Uh, but I think like that's the thing. It's like it's what I like about these albums too, and I think Daveed Diggs in general kind of has this energy of like it's like weird and creepy and bad stuff, but he is like I don't know. I think he's like having fun with it, and like he's very good at doing it. So like, why wouldn't you just sort of like gas yourself up a little? He should be feeling himself on these albums for sure. No, I don't think anything didn't stick out to me more than what we talked about. I'm just looking at the track list now, and I just saw Ho 9909 again. It just made me laugh from you. But
I mean, no disrespect to him. I don't know who he is, or like I said, or anything. I just didn't seem to. That song in general just didn't totally work to me. I just got real. I don't know why. I just got very Run the Jewels vibes when he started rapping. But yeah. What did you have a favorite song on this? Or?
I think say the name. I think just from that, like, I mean, yeah, I agree with you sort of in general. I just think the half sampling already kind of had me like sort of bump into it. But I like Check the Lock a lot too. I like right before we started recording, I was listening to Body for the Pile again, so maybe that should be on that one for me too. But I think a lot of these might not have made your Halloween music list that you've already sort of been accruing, but I think this will be good foundation if I'm going to start one for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are probably some of the most coherent horrorcore albums. I feel like, except for maybe Brother Lin Chung obviously has some that definitely work as horrorcore albums as well. But I feel like a lot of times, even with him, but especially other people too, there'll be like one horrorcore song, and then everything else will be normal, or like a couple, and then just like mixed in with some regular songs. Whether or not you think all the songs on here work or not, it's definitely all trying to go for a coherent vision. And then obviously, not every song can just be the same exact thing. So, some of the themes might work better for you or not. But it's trying to get the same thing from different angles. And so if nothing else, I like the albums for that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think we've had an album that hit on every single track since Macklemore and Ryan Lewis's The Heist, so it's hard to hold anybody else to that standard. Why are you laughing?
What songs are on that would know are on that?
I mean, Thrift Shop and Can't Hold Us are like the lead singles, and Same Love is also on there. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to swim my safe from talking about The Heist instead.
Yeah.
Scary good.
Well, there is no safe room this week.
There is no safe room. There's never been a safe room. There never will be a safe room. The safe room's an illusion. This is what's the line? The safe room is fantasy. This is real. Is a dream. What is it?
You messed it up so bad. I forgot what it is.
I know.
So the line from the song is "It's not a dream, it's a memory," but the line from the movie is "This is no dream. This is really happening."
now that we're once again in our unsafe room, Justin, how's your holiday been treating you?
All right. Well, so for my unsafe room this week, it actually all starts with this jar that's actually in my basement right now, and it. Well, actually, before even the jar in my basement, I guess I should go back probably to the emails, so that's really where it began.
Sure.
But I got this. So I got this forwarded email to me. It just the subject line was just request. Um, and it just said, "Dear Justin, I need to forward this. Please forgive me." Which it's very, definitely a strange email.
Yeah. Did you who forwarded it to you? Did you notice?
No, I couldn't see who forwarded it to me. I just saw who it was from originally. Except I
Okay.
couldn't read the name. It was in these strange symbols.
Hmm.
Was not actual any sort of letters that I could recognize, or even like a language I could recognize. Just yeah, just kind of like
Hmm.
strange symbols.
Okay.
It was sent maybe a little over a week ago, I guess now. But
Okay.
came at a very strange time, 3 a.m. as well. So,
Hmm.
but the email just said, I know you don't know me, but I was hoping we might be some use to each other. Please save this message. You'll need it later. It asked me what is my greatest desire: money, fame, power. I can give it to you. And at this point, I'm like, all right, whatever. Some spam.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. I was gonna say. I mean, you didn't respond to it or
no,
anything, so
no,
that's good.
obviously not. But I was saying like there would be a price for this. I have to receive some package and some powder that I would need to, and give me some instructions of what to do with it. I had 3 days to accept or decline. So
Hmm.
yeah, like I said, I just deleted it. I'm not gonna respond to something like that. But then the next day, I got another email. It was actually the same identical email, but it had a new subject line and a different introduction. So the subject line this time. It said request again, but then in all capitals, response required. And it actually started
Hmm.
off saying, I can see you have deleted the message. Please do not forget I already have your address as a condition of my capacity to send you the package I mentioned in my last email. And then
Uh.
had the same email below, and it said, "Please respond in the next 2 days this time." And that
Time sensitive.
no response will be taken as tacit acceptance.
Uh,
So that one was a little bit stranger, but I mean, you know how these scams work. Like they're just gonna
right.
say
They're just
they
right.
have your address or whatever and try and like scare you into it or something like that.
Right. 100%.
So
So you didn't answer.
right, yeah. So I just deleted it. Didn't really even think about it again until the next day. Another email. This time, everything all caps. Final request. Response required. It said, "Dear Justin, if words do not persuade, perhaps pictures will." And there's an image attached that had a package with a shipping label on it that actually had my home address on the shipping label.
It's a
Um,
little unnerving.
yeah, I was trying to see if I can get any context clues from the picture. It was pretty zoomed in on the package. It looked like it was maybe
Right.
just sitting on the floor, but everything it was kind of just like a darkish red, almost like a blood red color.
Hmm.
Kind of hard to explain, kind of like trippy looking a little bit, but I could clearly see
Sure.
the shipping label with my address on it. And so at this point, I mean, I don't know what you would do, but I kind of felt like I had to respond if this person had my address.
Right. So I mean, yeah, they, because and they said that, not responding is you're agreeing to it. So what'd you say?
Exactly. So I figured I at least had to kind of string them along at the very least. So I
Sure.
did reply. I said sorry for the delayed response. And that I just kind of, assumed that this was some sort of spam since I didn't recognize the sender. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and just asked if I could get some clarification on the terms, to just try and see if I could buy myself some time at least.
Right.
And as
Reasonable.
soon as I hit send, there was immediately a response in my inbox, which I've never seen before. I don't even really know exactly how it's possible still.
Yeah, maybe like an auto reply or something, I guess. But that's
Yeah. But it seemed kind of personalized to it. I mean, it said, as stated, I can get you whatever you like. At the end of the 5-day period, I will arrange for whatever you request. Basically said it could be a material thing that could be sent physically, or even an immaterial desire. I don't know exactly how that would work, but so I had to accept the service, and now so I had 23 hours, so it seems to now be counting down the hours.
yeah.
So obviously, I didn't have a lot of time to think about what I wanted, if I was going to accept this, but then I was also worried about declining it too, just because the person already had my address, and I didn't know how they would react if I said no. So I tried to just come up with a number that would maybe make sense to ask for. I asked for
Mm.
$5,000.
Oh,
And I said, I might as well just try and get some out of this.
yeah, I guess
Um,
so. I might have gone a little higher
well, I
personally, but
didn't want to offend whoever this was by going too
okay.
high. I honestly, I probably did lowball it there, but yeah, I just wasn't really sure what was going on. Didn't have a lot of time to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, probably could have got like 6K.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, so I had some other work to do, obviously, so I just kind of went to that and didn't really think too much more about it, until after I was, logged off for the day and, just went back to take the night off. I went out for an evening walk, and I saw that there was actually a package already sitting at my door. It didn't quite look like the package from the picture.
No.
It didn't have the shipping label that was on it in the picture. There was actually nothing on it at all. It was just a
Just a
completely,
box.
yeah, blank box. So
Huh.
I don't even know how it got sent. I don't remember hearing, the doorbell ring or anything like that. Or
Right. Because it wasn't there when you left.
right. So I brought it in the house, and yeah, I slowly opened it up. For all I know, this could have been one of those like bomb packages or something.
Right.
But at the same time, I was still worried about the whoever it was that was emailing me. So,
No, for sure.
but just like the person said, was in there. They said there was going to be a jar and some packets in there, and that's exactly what I saw. The packets were kind of like the box, just completely blank white packets. Kind of sounded like there was maybe like salt or something inside if you like shook them a little bit. Um,
Huh.
but clearly the main attraction was that jar. Um,
Right.
Again, just like a clear jar with a white screw-on lid. But there was like this weird, Vic looking liquid inside.
Huh.
Really like multiple liquids kind of all mixed together. It kind of looked like a lava lamp, but not really like
Okay.
moving. I'm not really sure what was causing these liquids to separate in these kind of odd ways. Like it wasn't in neat layers or something. It kind of just like spread out, very strange looking. And in the center, kind of looked like there was maybe like a jelly bean or something like that. Just kind of like a small little, off-white thing in the middle there.
Interesting.
And the only other thing in there was the instructions, like I was told was going to be in there. It wasn't typed out. It was kind of scrawled in this dark brown, almost like calligraphy style. Like someone wrote this by hand with some sort of strange ink. But it
Mm-hmm.
said you had to tear open one packet and unscrew the jar and pour one in a day. Um,
It's easy enough.
yeah, so first day, it's exactly what I did. The powder got absorbed pretty quickly. Nothing unusual happened. I just sealed it back up, and I actually left it on my desk that first day. Second day, I went to do the same thing, but I noticed the jelly bean-sized object was no longer jelly bean size, not about golf ball size. Still kind of oblong shaped. It's starting to have some
Mm-hmm.
protrusions coming out of
Huh.
it as well. So I was kind of getting a bad feeling about it, and by the third,
It's a little strange.
yeah, by the third day, I really just couldn't deny what was happening anymore. This just clearly looked like some sort of embryo.
I was gonna say, sound a little fetal.
Yeah, had that look to it, but and I know, I mean, if you ever looked at an ultrasound or whatever, they always kind of do have that demonic look to them a little bit when they're like
Right.
that. But
Yeah.
this one really had a demonic look to it. I didn't really want to put the powder in, and so at that point, I was like, "What am I doing here?" Ended up just deciding I just couldn't do this anymore. Threw the jar in the garbage, poured the powder in the
No.
sink, and yeah, I'm like, I'm done with this. Turns out, no, I wasn't. Next day, I went into the office, and the jar was sitting back on my desk, and I also received a new box delivered that had 3 more packets in it. Um,
Huh.
and also, right as I sat down as well, happened to get an email. Subject line: "The agreement may not be broken." It said, "Dear Justin, this process once begun, all caps, cannot be stopped. For your own safety, finish the program with no more delays." At that point, I felt I had to resume, and
Right.
as I was sitting on my desk, I think I could feel its heart beating a little bit. The desk was definitely reverberating a little bit. So I decided to
Mm-hmm.
put it in the basement for now. And when I went to go feed it again that night, I could actually see some wings had sprouted out, and also could see little hooves starting to form on the feet.
Huh.
Also, some cat-like eyes. I don't
Uh-huh.
know if they could see me, but they were definitely open. When I unscrewed the jar, some liquid came out because it was growing too quickly and displacing some liquid.
Right.
Um, but anyways, today actually is day 5, and it's
Mm-hmm.
actually just happens to be around the time where I normally feed. Sounds like I just got another email. It's from the same person. He says payment will be received upon completion. And he also says that I will then need to forward the original email to someone else.
Hmm. Well, I mean, listen, $5,000 is $5,000.
True. Did you hear that noise though?
Um,
Is that just me?
what? It sounded like I thought it might have just been some feedback or something. I wasn't.
I mean, 5,000 is 5,000. But actually, no, now that I'm thinking about it, though, he said you said we need to forward the original email, and I remember the original email did have that line that said "forgive me" in it. So now
It did.
I'm wondering. Okay, hold on, that was definitely a doorbell. Let me grab that real
Yeah,
quick.
sure, no problem. Well, unprofessional, but
So turns out I just got delivered $5,000 in cash. So, well, yeah, not really sure what to do with this. Maybe you can just go into your safe room and I can have some time to think about what to do here.
yeah, for sure. All right. Well, as you know, Justin, we're both former creative writing majors, and it'd been a while since I had done any sort of writing or done anything in a communal setting. So I've been looking around, shopping around, and about a couple months ago, trying to get back to the roots. About a dozen people, strangers to me, but I saw a post about it. Meet up every week, and everybody sort of submits a chapter too. On what they're working for the rest of us to give feedback. So each week it's a different person. Well, considering that this is, usually where we do our safe room, it seems like the perfect time to give some highlights of this one creep in the group. I don't know. This dude just sort of sits there at the workshop. He doesn't say a word. He doesn't even really move, to be honest. Just kind of stares blankly. He was one of the first ones. He's always the first one to wherever we meet up, whatever coffee shop or whatever. He's always the last one to leave. He's just this real, I don't know, just this, like, I mean, got bad vibes. This real, like, pale, like, gaunt looking motherfucker. I tried to wait him out one time, even to see, where he'd go. I didn't tell him that, but, I was probably gonna follow him for a little bit, see where he goes to or whatever. But he just sat there, just sort of staring at me, didn't move an inch.
It's interesting.
And it was a couple of hours. He was totally unfazed. I guess not totally unfazed. He did look pretty pissed at me that I wouldn't leave, and I don't know if he was mad. I can only assume so, but I've never seen really sort of anything on his face before, so I just assume that that's what he looks like when he's mad.
Just eavesdropping for like dialogue or something, or
I kind of kept asking him what his deal was, just sort of. I probably got a little heated myself there, but he really just wasn't reacting to nothing. It's just I don't know. I just kind of just came off like an asshole to me. But anyway, so like the last like 2 weeks, it was this guy's turn to submit. Technically, like he kind of came up on the rotation every once in a while. He'll be like, "Are you ready to? Do you have your thing yet?" And he'll just say it's not finished. The words aren't ripe. So he'll always say that. I just like that shit's got to be in season or something. It doesn't make any sense. This dude just
so we've heard that one before.
Well, and so he finally he gave the special preview, but I think it was just to me because he still, when, that meeting, he was like, it's not finished, the words aren't right, whatever the fuck. And then, but the last week when I stuck around and was sort of asking him, I kept trying to ask him, tell me what his deal was. He finally sort of gave me, he called it a special preview or whatever. I haven't read this shit yet because, I wanted both. I want the raw audio reaction for us. I mean, some prime safe room material.
Yeah.
Finally. So it's kind of thick. I don't know. It's like a lot of, and shit's kind of been smelling like it's been kind of stunk up my car when I was driving back. Sounds like it's been sitting in his like shit, like with some garage cook with some garbage, like cooking all summer or something. I don't know. It's just I don't think you can get paper to smell like that, but
probably because the writing's about to be garbage.
Okay, see now you're getting there. See, you're with me here. I'm gonna open this up. All right, this dude's doing too much. This is like the first 20 pages are just a bunch of like legalese bullshit and trigger warnings. Through me you pass into the city of woe. Through me you pass into eternal pain. Through me among the people lost of justice the founder of my fabric moved. To rear me was the task of power divine, supremest wisdom and primeval love. Before me things create were none save things eternal, and eternal I endure. All hope abandon ye who enter here. All right, this dude's just a fucking edgelord. That's the lamest shit I could have possibly thought of. Use some stupid like red ink that's been faded out. This shit's embarrassing. Turn away, foolish mortals, for there shall be no tethering. What wicked deeds shall be wrought? Take heed for your soul before facing the will of the damned. All right, I can't imagine putting this in a first draft. Like I'm gonna plagiarize or some shit. All right.
It's also creepypasta or something.
Honestly, dude, some fucking 4chan chud or some shit. So it's also a little ambitious to already have this shit like binded. A lot of dust on this thing. This shit's dusty already, bro. This dude's doing too much. All right, let's crack into this bad boy. And let's see if I can. Yeah, let's see if I can. Well, so I'm not even sure if I'm gonna be able to read. I'm gonna see if I can read this. All right, a lot of fucking. All right, a lot of apostrophes. I don't know if I know this. Fngluey Mglunifer Cthulhurlai Wagal Nagal Fortrin Ulin Lufun Ner Nilgri Wagal Ron Gatha Ubushuri. Man, this dude's on some bullshit. Volgalagin I Higath Geb Fatikul Slahal Saglufa.
Struggling to read it a little bit, Alex?
Man, you getting any of this?
It just sounds like it's drying out your voice or something.
I mean, it's My tongue's feeling a little hot, I'm gonna be honest, but I'm probably just dehydrated or something. Nasulha Goka Yaug Malahi Ua Cthul Rahul Kofin Nafrat
It's like
Gotha.
written in all bold or something. Like it sounds like you're like trying to get your voice deep to read it or something.
Some of it's underlined, but alright, this looks promising. Kadishtu Nwin Shlia Azathal Hubgati Tree Lahi Nagul Nagli Zero Cthulgar Hastur Hri Gatha Goffin Nafuzra.
I think my mic might be, or maybe your mic or something. Not sounding right to me.
Yeah, I can't make heads or tails of this shit. That dude might be like from the Ukraine or something.
Your voice sounds like it's from the Ukraine.
You know what? I'm gonna take that as a compliment. Alright, okay, there's actually, I'm sorry, there was something on the back page here. There's one more line. Recite in triplicate to finish the sacred. It kind of fades out. Relu Yaha Al Salor Kana Goka Fei Volgatan. Rahul Yaha Al Salor Kan Goka Filet Tan.
Okay, I wasn't gonna say anything, but you did hear this. I heard a screech after both of those ones.
It's probably nothing. Listen, I gotta do some more time. Relax.
Okay, it's definitely getting louder here. We might have to wrap up. It's getting closer and louder for sure. Okay, so that's gonna be our show for this week. It's see the show notes if you want links to these artifacts. Yeah.
Music for Exploration for Nicholas Pizzuto. jasartstudios is the Keeper's Promise artist.
Alright, I don't really know what you said, but rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, follow us on Facebook, and tell a ghost or a demon about the show, and join us again in 3 weeks as we find 2 new texts to discuss, and I really need to get out of here, I think.
You know, I was worried about you last year, but I mean, you're saying eternal damnation isn't as bad as it sounds, or
Well, how worried were you? Because you recorded. I mean, this is my first episode back. You've been recording with the doppelganger for all of last year. You didn't seem to care.
I mean, I didn't want to say anything now that you sort of brought it up, but he's a lot nicer than you.
I was in hell for a year.
Yeah, and hasn't changed your personality at all.
You know
You'd think
how hot it is down there?
I don't know, like Florida?
Nice try, but no, it's hot as hell. I mean, literally hot as hell down there. And I've been trying to claw my way. I've been fighting demons and devils down there. And you've just been recording with my doppelganger this whole time. I had to strangle him to get back on the show today.
Yeah, like listen, I knew you had it in you. I'm not the bad guy here. If I didn't keep recording, you'd have no motivation to come back. So I think you're trying to say thank you. So I'll tell you that you're welcome.
You're just really lucky that I like recording this podcast. But you know what is funny though? When I was in hell, guess who I saw?
Who did you see?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh shit!